Hey, welcome back. So, look, today we are talking about a book that asks a question so simple it sounds like something a stoned philosophy major would ask you at 2 a.m. in a dorm room. The book is called Is a River Alive by Robert Macfarlane. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, obviously not, it is water, let me stop you. This is not some woo-woo crystal healing pamphlet. This is Robert Macfarlane. The guy is essentially the Indiana Jones of nature writing if Indiana Jones was less into stealing artifacts and more into hiking through mud and writing incredibly poetic sentences about moss. He is a Cambridge professor, a bestseller, and frankly, he writes better than you or I will ever do anything. So, the premise. Macfarlane travels around the world, Ecuador, India, Canada, and his own backyard in England, to explore a radical, legal, and philosophical idea that rivers are not just property. They are not just plumbing for the planet. They are living entities, persons even, with legal rights to flow, to be clean, and to exist. I know, it sounds wild, but stick with me. By the end of this, you are going to look at your local creek and wonder if you should apologize to it. Let's break this bad boy down into the key lessons Macfarlane is trying to teach us, minus the academic jargon. Lesson number 1, the shift from property to personhood, or why owning nature is kind of weird if you think about it. Here's the deal. For the last few centuries, Western law, which is the operating system most of us live under, has treated land and water like stuff. It is property. It's like a toaster. You own the toaster, you can unplug the toaster, you can smash the toaster with a hammer if you're having a really bad day. Nobody's going to arrest you for toaster murder. Macfarlane goes to Ecuador to show us a different way. He takes us into the Los Cedros cloud forest. Just the name sounds magical, right? Cloud forest. It's this insanely biodiverse place in the Andes. But it was threatened by mining companies who wanted to tear it up for copper and gold. But here's the twist. Ecuador's constitution actually recognizes the rights of nature. They call it Pachamama. In 2021, their highest court ruled that this forest had a right to exist, not because it was useful to humans, but because it is, well, alive. Macfarlane hangs out with the activists and indigenous leaders who made this happen. He shows us that treating a river like a living being changes the game. If a river is a person, you can't just dump toxic sludge in it. That's assault. You can't just dam it up and stop it from flowing. That's false imprisonment. Think of it like this. Imagine you have a roommate. Let's call him Steve. You can't just sell Steve's kidney because you need rent money. Steve has rights. But if you think of your apartment as just a collection of objects, you can sell the sofa. The shift Macfarlane is talking about is upgrading nature from sofa to Steve. It turns out when you stop treating the planet like a warehouse of free stuff and start treating it like a roommate, you stop trashing the place. Lesson number 2, the paradox of the sacred and the sewer. Now, after the high of the Los Cedros cloud forest, Macfarlane takes us to a darker place. He goes to India, specifically Chennai. Now, India is famous for revering its rivers, the Ganges, the Yamuna. These are goddesses. They are worshipped. People pray to them. But Macfarlane notices a nasty little irony. These same rivers that are worshipped as goddesses are often the most polluted waterways on Earth. He describes the Adyar and Coombe rivers in Chennai, which are basically black sludge. They're dead zones. They're choked with sewage, plastic, and chemical runoff. He hangs out with people who are fighting a desperate battle to save these waters, including a guy who spends his nights rescuing sea turtle eggs on the beach. It's heartbreaking stuff. The lesson here is about hypocrisy. It's about how we humans are amazing at compartmentalizing. We can spiritually revere something while simultaneously physically destroying it. It's like dating a celebrity. Imagine you're dating, I don't know, Dua Lipa, and you tell everyone, oh my God, I love her. She's a goddess. She's the light of my life. But then you never let her sleep. You feed her garbage, and you make her carry all your luggage until she collapses. Do you really love her? Or do you just love the idea of her? Macfarlane is pointing out that saying a river is sacred is useless if you don't also give it legal protection and physical care. Thoughts and prayers don't clean up toxic waste. You need to actually stop dumping the trash. Lesson number 3. Rivers have agency, or the river wants what it wants. Next up, Macfarlane heads to Canada, to the north shore of Quebec. He goes to a river called the Mutakauashipu, also known as the Magpie River. This river is a beast. It's wild, it's fast, and it's powerful. The Innu people, the indigenous guardians of the land, worked to declare this river a legal person. Why? To stop the government from building giant hydroelectric dams that would strangle it. Macfarlane goes on a 10-day kayak trip down this river. And this is where the book gets really fun. He's not just sitting in a library, he's getting thrashed around in whitewater. He describes the rapids, the fear, the adrenaline. He talks about the river not as a passive blue line on the map, but as a force. It pushes, it pulls, it roars. He starts to feel physically that the river has agency. That means it has its own will. It wants to flow to the ocean. It's doing its own thing, regardless of whether humans are watching. Here's the analogy for this one. Think of a river like a rebellious teenager. If you try to lock a teenager in their room and control every single aspect of their life, tell them what to wear, who to date, when to sleep, what happens? They explode. They rebel. Or they just get depressed and wither away. Dams are like that strict parent. They try to control the flow, manage the energy, and turn the wild teenager into a predictable robot. Macfarlane is saying, maybe we should let the teenager be a teenager. Let the river be a river. Because when you let it flow, it creates life, biodiversity, and beauty that you could never manufacture in a lab. Lesson number 4. The local is global. Finally, Macfarlane brings it all back home. Literally. He weaves a story throughout the book about a small chalk stream near his house in Cambridge, England. This is not a mighty Amazon or a sacred Ganges. It's a little stream where he takes his kids. But he watches it dying too. It's drying up because of climate change and over-extraction of water for farming and housing. This is the emotional anchor of the book. He realizes that you don't need to go to the jungle to find a river that needs saving. The crisis is happening in our backyards. He uses this to teach us about connection. We tend to think of nature as something out there in a national park, but nature is the drain pipe outside your window. It's the creek behind the Walmart. Think of it like your health. You can watch all the documentaries you want about elite athletes and marathon runners. That's great. But if you're eating junk food and never moving off the couch, your personal system is going to crash. The local stream is his personal health check. He realizes that if we can't save the little unglamorous streams in our own neighborhoods, we have no hope of saving the big ones, the famous ones. So how do we wrap this up? Is a River Alive is a book that tries to change your operating system. Macfarlane wants you to see the world as not a collection of objects to be used, but as a community of subjects to be related to. He's arguing that we need a rights of nature revolution. Just like we eventually realized that women, people of color, and children had rights and weren't property, we're now at the moment where we need to realize that the environment itself has rights. It's a heavy topic, but Macfarlane writes it with so much joy and adventure that you don't feel lectured, you feel invited. So, the next time you cross a bridge or walk past a canal, take a second. Look at the water. Don't just see H2O, see a living thing that has been there longer than you have and hopefully will be there long after you're gone. Maybe give it a little nod. Treat it like a roommate, not a toaster. And hey, if you like this summary, maybe go drink a glass of water and appreciate that it's not trying to kill you. Yet. Thanks for listening.